My hands tremble as I hold this paper, these words my final whisper to those still walking the path I've nearly finished. My breath comes slow, weighted with decades of silence and unspoken truths. Time has carved its lines deep into my skin, into my bones, into the very essence of who I am. For most of my life, I believed that success was something you could chase, collect, stack like money in an old metal safe. I thought life was a race to be won, achievements to be gathered, a ladder to climb without looking down. How foolish I was. How terribly, painfully foolish. I remember myself at 40, hard and sharp as a knife's edge, cutting through relationships, opportunities, moments of genuine connection. Always moving, never truly seeing. My ambition was a wall I built around myself, brick by brick, keeping out everything soft, everything vulnerable. I thought vulnerability was weakness. Now I know it's the only true strength we ever possess. My wife, Martha, God, how she tried to show me. Her gentle hands, her patient eyes, always trying to break through my armor. But I was deaf, blind, consumed by a hunger for more. More money, more recognition, more control. And in that consuming fire, I lost the most precious things, time with her, with my children, with myself. When Martha got sick, everything changed. Suddenly, all those achievements meant nothing. The corner office, the awards, the reputation, they became dust in my hands. What mattered was her smile, her touch, the memories we'd shared. And I realized how much of our life I had missed while chasing shadows. The doctors gave her 6 months. 6 months that became our most profound conversation, our most intimate journey. In those months, she taught me more about living than I had learned in decades of breathing. She showed me that love isn't about grand gestures, but about being present, truly, deeply present. If you're listening and you're young, stop right now. Stop and look around you. The people you love, the moments passing, they are not infinite. They are fragile as morning mist, gone before you can catch them. Don't wait. Don't postpone. Love fiercely. Be kind. Be vulnerable. My son, who I hardly knew when he was growing up, now sits by my bed. We've rebuilt something precious, something I almost destroyed with my blindness. And I want you to understand, it's never too late to repair, to connect, to love. But start now. Don't wait until your hands shake like mine, until your breath comes in painful whispers. Come closer to this channel. Stay. Listen. These are not just words. These are the hard-earned truths of a life lived too long in darkness before finding light. My silence was my greatest mistake, not the professional failures, not the financial risks, but the words I never spoke. The I love you held back, the I'm sorry swallowed, the I'm proud of you trapped behind pride and ego. In the military, we were taught that emotion was weakness. Show no vulnerability, no softness. Be hard, be strong. But true strength is not about suppressing feeling. It's about allowing yourself to feel deeply, to be raw, to be human. I carried that toxic masculinity like a heavy armor for decades, and it cost me everything. I remember my brother Thomas. We were close as children, and then drifted apart because men in our generation didn't know how to speak about anything real. Birthdays, funerals, rare family gatherings, we would stand close, yet worlds apart. Small talk, forced smiles, never touching the core of our relationship. When Thomas died, I realized how much life we had wasted. years of potential connection, eroded by silence and pride. The last time I saw him, we talked about the weather, about his garden, about nothing that mattered. And then he was gone, taking with him all the conversations we never had. Regret is a slow poison. It doesn't kill you immediately, but it hollows you out from inside. Every unspoken truth, every moment of potential connection missed, they accumulate like dust in the corners of your soul. And one day, you look around and realize how much of your life was spent in this self-imposed isolation. Masculinity is not about being invulnerable. It's about having the courage to be soft, to admit weakness, to say, I'm scared, or I need help. It took me 88 years to understand this simple truth. 88 years of building walls, of protecting myself from feeling, from being truly seen. My generation was taught to be providers, not partners, to work, not to feel, to succeed, not to connect. We were broken models of manhood, passing our brokenness to our children. But healing is possible. Transformation is always within reach, even when you think it's too late. Forgiveness starts with yourself. Forgiving your mistakes, your silences, your missed opportunities, and then extending that forgiveness to others. Your parents, your children, or your partners, everyone carrying their own wounded stories. Life is not a linear path. It's a web of interconnected moments, of choices made and not made. And the most profound choices are often the quietest ones, choosing to listen, to be present, to love without condition. My body is a map of scars, some visible, most hidden. Scars from wars I fought outside and inside myself. Physical wounds heal. Those take lifetimes to understand. I never thought I would speak about vulnerability. In my generation, men were supposed to be granite, unmovable. We were taught that emotions were for the weak, that real strength meant never showing pain. What a terrible lie we were told. What a destructive myth we lived. When Martha became ill, everything I believed about strength shattered. Watching her, seeing her grace in suffering, I realized true courage isn't about suppressing feeling. It's about allowing yourself to feel everything completely. She faced death with a tenderness that destroyed all my old ideas of power. There were moments during her illness when I would sit by her hospital bed, holding her hand, and feel utterly helpless. Me, a man who had commanded troops, who had negotiated complex business deals, reduced to silence by the simple, profound reality of human fragility. Those moments taught me more about myself than decades of so-called achievements. My children grew up seeing a version of me that was incomplete, a father who provided but rarely connected, a man who thought love was about material security, not emotional presence. I see now how much damage I caused with my emotional absence. How many conversations were never had? How many moments of genuine connection were lost? If you're listening and you have people you love, stop right now. Look at them. Really look. See them beyond the roles they play, beyond the expectations society has placed on them. Listen to the silences between their words. That's where the real story lives. The world moves so fast now. Technology, constant noise, endless distractions. But life happens in the quiet moments, in the touch of a hand, in a shared silence, in the space between breaths. Don't let the world's chaos steal your capacity for depth, for genuine connection. I want to tell you about transformation, about how it's never too late to become who you were always meant to be. About how healing is not a destination, but a continuous journey of allowing yourself to be human. To be vulnerable, to be real. My journey is not about regret, it's about understanding, about seeing clearly, finally, after decades of walking half blind. And if my story can help even one person break their own patterns of silence, of emotional isolation, then these trembling words will have served their purpose. Stay close. Listen. These truths are not just mine. They belong to anyone brave enough to hear them. The end comes softly, not with drama, but with a quiet understanding. I know now that life is not about the grand gestures, but about the smallest moments of genuine connection. Those brief, fragile instants when we truly see each other. My hands are thin now, almost transparent, mapped with blue rivers of veins that tell stories of a journey nearly complete. I've learned that wisdom is not something you acquire, but something you gradually surrender to. It's about letting go, about understanding how little we actually control. I spent decades running from vulnerability, thinking it was a weakness. Now I know it's the most profound strength a human can possess. To be open, to be seen, to admit that you don't have all the answers. That's real courage. Not the manufactured bravery of war or business, but the raw, unprotected honesty of a heart willing to be broken. My greatest regrets are not the failures, but the moments of connection I avoided. The I love you left unsaid, the hand not held, the conversation postponed. We think we have time, but time is the most ruthless of all illusions. It slips through our fingers like water, leaving only memories. To the young ones watching, your life is happening right now, not tomorrow. Not when you're successful, not when you've achieved everything. Right now, in this breath, in this moment. Stop waiting. Start living with an intensity that makes your heart tremble. Love is not a possession. It's not something you own or control. It's a continuous act of surrender, of showing up, of being present, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. Love is the act of seeing another person completely, without judgment, without expectation. I've watched the world change more times than most. Technology evolves, societies transform, but the human heart remains fundamentally the same. We all want the same things: to be seen, to be understood, to matter. And yet we spend so much time building walls, creating distance, protecting ourselves from the very connection we desperately need. My body is tired. My breath comes slower now. But my spirit is more alive than ever, because I finally understand that life is not about accumulating, but about releasing. Not about proving, but about accepting. Not about winning, but about connecting. If this story resonates with you, carry these words, share them, let them be a bridge between generations, because the truths of human existence are timeless, and the most important lessons are always the simplest ones. Love deeply, be present, forgive yourself and others. My time is ending, but your journey is just beginning. What will you do with the precious moments you have? How will you love? How will you live? Subscribe, because some stories are meant to be shared. Some truths are too important to be forgotten.